Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Back at you in Gloves Off, and I'm Paul Buitrón. I'm here with Bram Frank, and I'm going to touch base on martial arts in general, what it does to a person that's serious about the martial arts. I'm not talking about those that just do it as a hobby, or as a pastime, or as a babysitting service. I'm actually talking about those that follow the life, and the common things between different martial arts from the different fighting systems from around the world, and what they have in common, and what you need to add, and how you want to build that as a person. And we can take it from there. Good morning. How we doing?
Very good. I want you to know it's really cold. I've adjusted to Florida after 30 years, and Professor Paul, who brought me out to do a seminar and take care of me, is now stuck taking care of me all week because I'm frozen into Laredo because of Dallas, and Dallas is about to get frozen again. So you guys are stuck with me probably for another podcast or two. But actually, I'm doing really fine because you're taking good care of me.
You know, and what I want you to, you know, we had a New Year, Chinese New Year came of age, and you know, it's going to be a stubborn one because it's the year of the ox.
Yeah, the metal ox, no less.
Yep, the year of the ox. It's Valentine's just passed by. So Valentine's it's a time of bringing love to everybody, and this week let's continue with that. You know, let's help out our fellows that are around there, our neighbors, and so on and so forth. Especially here in Texas, the power's out. There's no electricity in some places that for 36 hours now. Where we're at, it goes off and on. It goes on for 2 hours, and it's off for 8 and comes back on. So it's been back and forth that way. There's a lot of blaming. You know, AEP comes out and says it's not our fault. It's the fault that you all turned on your all's heaters, so that's made and overlooked. Listen, folks, the problem with people, especially many of the director positions throughout many of, whether it's a business or whether it's for a municipality or a government agency, a lot of these people get lax and complacent when they go in there. They're not held accountable for what they do. And we're going to kind of touch that in with the martial arts, because martial arts, folks that have been involved in the martial arts, serious martial artists that have followed the life, they're compassionate people. And I think we can talk about that.
And we take personal responsibility. I was going to say, as you were saying, I was thinking in me to say, these people go like the blame on something. In Florida, just the opposite. It all went out because you turned on your air conditioning. What do you mean? We never turn them off. We would die without it. And they always want to blame martial artists who take it to themselves, because no one makes us do this. We train and we sacrifice on our own, and we don't blame others when things don't work. We accept personal responsibility for the success and failure on the floor. And you look at even great champions, what are they doing? The reason they're champions, and the reason they do that, is when they fail, they take that not as failure, but as something they need to learn from. And I think martial arts does that to all. The older we get, because you and I have talked about this, you can be young and crazy and think, you know, to get the first part, I want to be tough. But over time, I think compassion builds in it, and respect for life. And as you said, I don't think anybody looking on would go, here's Professor Buitrón going, and Paul standing up as Paul going, it was just Valentine's, we need to share love with each other. And that's important. And I think the older we get, the more we respect love, life, and what we put in. And anybody who lives on that floor, you guys don't know, I can actually see the training floor from here. We've given our lives, we're willing to sacrifice to be out there. That's a chosen thing for us. And you have to let me have a little bit of throwback. One of my ex-wives, who was my training partner and worked with me, Mary once looked at me and said, I just got it. It's not your hobby. It's not your job. It's your life. You never stop doing it. I watch you in the car moving your hands. At night, I can see you thinking about it. You write about it. You talk about it. It used to drive me nuts that it's everything you talk about. I just realized it's your life. Everything else fits in secondary. So that's where it fits.
No, you're absolutely correct, because when we train, we're always training.
Yeah.
And we're always thinking. You get to a point that what the basics and the intermediate techniques and the advanced techniques of those systems come in play, you're always going over them through your head.
Yeah.
And you start finding out that they're the basics.
Yeah.
But what really are the fundamentals of basic? The fundamentals of basic is not how you post a jab, how you do a fuerte, how you stand, how you do that. It's how you respect the person teaching you.
Yes.
Something that we forget, and we forget in a sense, is we have a teacher that's there giving his all.
Yes.
And you have a lot of great martial art instructors that give their all to you. And you come in, and they give you their life, their love for the culture and everything. So you're, not only are you getting a teacher that's teaching you how to fight, you're getting a teacher that's teaching you the aspects of life. And you have to learn respect. There's a brigade system, as we've talked about, and many martial arts do not understand it. There's a brigade system. There's in Savant you have gloves, in Kempo you have belts, in Capoeira you have cords, in Kung Fu you have sashes, and stuff like that goes up, and there's a hierarchy.
Yeah, it's a feudal system.
It's a feudal system. It's a
with
brigade
the leader,
system, right?
Working its way down.
So you have to understand there's a set of protocol in there.
Yes. And the ones who laugh at the protocol have lost something, because that's an integral part of understanding a rule of order. Oh, that's not important. Yes, it is. Because later on it teaches you, to be polite and respect what's being given.
And not only that, when you get that type of person that's been raised in this, you're going to have a great, caring, compassionate individual that cares about life, cares about others inside a department.
Yes.
And those departments, when they say there's something wrong, but wait a minute, let's go back, let's check and make sure to see if the water is running, let's make sure to see if this is running, let's do our maintenance back.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're used to safety and you're used to having everything together.
Yeah.
So when you're placed in those positions,
Yeah.
you can tell those that have actually trained
Yeah.
and held those higher positions in life.
Yes.
And
Because it
directed
has to
positions.
transfer. As you said, it's got to transfer from Remy looked at me and said, this is not, if you don't use what I teach you in life, why am I teaching you? And on his deathbed, he said some other things, and said, what have I done to my art? And said, don't worry, all of us, Kelly, me, and anybody who talked at the end went, oh. And, Michael Bates, we're all like, don't worry, we all got a good part of it, and we'll do it. But he wanted us to use it in life, because you have to be able to apply it to life. And some of my students come to me, I'm like, you're a student here, and go, I never realized how much you gave me about life, about responsibility, about when barriers come up, so I go, when I quit this job, I hate this job, it's not my responsibility. They go, well, let me take it on as my responsibility. I don't want to quit this job, there's a barrier, let me go around it. Let me find a way through it, around it, or something to accomplish it. Because we're used to, martial arts one of a few places, and I have to sort of, again, backtrack, I don't mean to over-talk you, that in school, when I failed, I was done. If the teacher said me it was wrong, I just got so upset, because I had to do it right the first time, and of course, you can't, and I'd screw up. But I go to a martial art floor, no matter how many times I failed, I took that as an incentive to try to do it right. And one of the things I told my students, if I had understood that homework was martial arts training, I would have been done great in school, because not succeeding would have let me go.
And running with that, that's what I'm trying to get at. If when I used to have the restaurants and we used to have people employed there, if a kid come up to me and said, you know what, I'm taking so and so and down the street in Taekwondo, he had a job because I knew that he was dependable.
Yes.
He was dependable. Why do I say dependable? Because the greatest thing that martial arts teaches you, especially those that go into a fight, is once you get in the fight, you're tested. Can I go forward? Can I put on the gloves with that person in there? Yes, I got fear, but I'm still going to do it. So when you get into the rough times like this,
Yeah.
like when we're going out there with power up,
Yeah.
you start seeing those leaders start standing up and say, you know what, let's get this back in there. Not those that put blame to others like this
Yeah.
Jamoke from the AEP said to everybody, it's your fault because you turned on the heater. You know, what kind of
I know.
individual would say that? You're like, really?
Yeah, you're the power company. That's like, you're supposed to plan for that. And, oh, our grid is old? Well, you know what? Why weren't you guys upgrading the grid? Because that's been a statement since I was an adult. People going, we need to upgrade our highways, our sewers, and our power grid. And of course, all these people who want all this echo stuff, and I see nothing wrong with it, but without backup, all this stuff is shut down. All the solar panels are covered with snow. You know where the cover up? They don't work. The windmills have iced over. They're not turning. And someone goes, well, I go, if that's the only way we depend upon stuff, so again, granted, why are there not teams out there cleaning those things off? Why are we not having multiple units to make it even better? I don't understand it. I really don't. Because it's pretty simple how to keep it going. You know?
And with that saying in there, and I'm going to compare it to the arts, is the simple stuff, the basic stuff, is ingrained into a martial artist, regardless of style.
Yeah, we all do the fundamentals
To train
all the
it,
time.
to train over again.
Yeah,
And if you don't go back to the basics, and you're placed in a position in life where you have to manage a department, and you do not check the basics because you think the person that just came in, he's supposed to do it, it goes on to your head. You're the one responsible.
remember I called and told you I slipped on the stairs and found out there was spilled water and ice, and going up the 11 stories in the dark trying to carry my stuff, and then I'd spilled my tea right where I slipped on that spot. I went, okay. So it was really, really late at night. I told you I knew it was frozen. We talked about cleaning up. What responsibility? When I missed you, remember I missed you this morning going, I had to go down and clean it up. I don't work in a hotel, but I knew people got to use those stairs, and I cleaned up. And turned out, as we cleaned up, that girl was coming upstairs in the dark, carrying blankets, trying to get to her room because she's got no heat like the rest of us. She wanted to do. I said, cleaning the stairs, and she just gave me a strange look because I couldn't let it sit. I couldn't go when it was 19 degrees in the middle of the night. I had to wait till like a little bit of functionality. But I took it upon myself. I'm not the hotel. I know they're having trouble getting people there. And the people in power and the power companies and stuff, how dare they, here, Florida, anywhere, go, Keller, we can't get there. It's not our problem. It is your problem. And all of us common people who are martial artists decently, we don't shirk the responsibility. Because, I wrote to you and said, okay, it took me a couple hours to clean it up. Because there's no power. It's freezing, and I had to keep scraping the ice off so no one would slip on the steps. My responsibility? No. Did I slip on what was there and spill more? Yes. You know what? And it became my responsibility because that's what martial arts taught me. You don't put off what I personally can do and go, no
Absolutely,
problem.
absolutely. And you see, that's what happens. So when I'm looking at this, and for those folks out there that have businesses out there, ask those that you're employing, have you ever trained in martial arts? It's a lot more important than if they've trained in baseball or football. It's why? Because they'll be responsible on their own word of what they have to do. Team sports are great. They teach you how to become social with others, but they also teach you all how to point the finger at the person that didn't make the touchdown or fumbled. And that's what I got out of team sports. Everybody, if you fumbled the ball or you didn't dribble right and went off the court and they gave you a penalty, you were the reason why you lost the game. So everybody would always point the fingers in team sports. It's a great social gathering, but it also teaches you how to point fingers. In martial arts, if you get punched in the face, it's your fault because you did not block. So you better start blocking correctly. In boxing, if you didn't learn and train to esquive and bob and weave, well, guess what? You got hit in the face. It's your responsibility. So it either makes you or breaks you. And one of the things that I think we should all look for, have you trained in martial arts?
Yeah.
And if you have, how long did you train in martial arts? Because that builds character, personality, and eliminates the brown-nosing individuals get hired into these departments that come out like this AEP guy that said, it's not our fault. You all turn on the heat.
Yeah. We're freezing. People are freezing here. You shouldn't have turned on the heat. Are you kidding me? You want martial arts also, again, is what you're touching on. Part of the dedication is no one makes you go to class. You go to class. You choose to do that. People go, why'd you go? I go, you pay to get beat up. Well, actually, yeah. I paid to get beat up because, you know what? I wanted to be there. I wanted to learn, and it was worth the payment to me.
Absolutely.
And, you know, my mom used to tell me when I was growing up that I didn't have patience. As years went on, my mom was in her 70s before she looked and said, she goes, I realized what happened when I keep saying you never finish, and she goes, there is no finish to martial arts. Because she didn't know about it. She just watched it through me and finally went, I just got it. You're always learning something new, so there is no end. You pick something that's open-ended, you have to keep learning and practicing. And she goes, I used to yell at you with no patience. She goes, I cannot believe how much patience you have. So, well, martial arts taught me that. Because you can't do it right at first. You have to practice. And every time I do it, people go, oh, you like to practice till you get it right. I said, no, I like to practice so I don't get it wrong. I love having the misfires. I like having the malfunctions because it shows me, and some of you complain about forms, katas, whatever you want to call them. I love smelling that person there, touching them, feeling them. And I lose sometimes when I do my forms, my free form katas. So what do you mean you lose? Well, I can feel it when he hits me, kicks me, throws me, locks me. Why? Because I can just see that from my motion, I did it wrong or they were faster. And it adds to the reality to me of doing it. And it makes me better. It's taught me true compassion to other people about doing stuff. And someone said, and I said, I love working with handicapped people. I have a couple like Eric Harris, who I've met. You might have seen him on Facebook. This man has every reason not to do martial arts. And here's a man in his automatic wheelchair who never stops training. And I go, you know what? That's the kind of guy I want to work for me because nothing stops him. He has a positive attitude and he's there. And we both know people who have been very, very ill. And you never know it because they're on the floor. Well, what are you doing? Well, this is what gives me life and spirit. If God takes away my actual life, I don't care. I'm putting my life and spirit here because I'm blessed to be able to do this. Those are the kind of people, I agree with you. We want running our country. We want running our companies. Not the ones who go, and again, I'll do it to Florida because it's the exact opposite. It's about cold. That these guys look and go, everything failed because you people turned on your air conditioning. Oh, you used your water. Hello.
Yeah.
What did you expect us to do?
There's certain things that people do not understand that municipalities have to make sure that the citizens have. One is police, fire department, a hospital, a cemetery, water and electric company that works. So they have to, those that are in there, and I have faith with their city council because it's not their fault. They have to oversee people that have been stuck in some of these departments for a very, very long time, and they have to tighten up. And right now with COVID, and just like they had everything else, start making the cuts and getting people that are not adequate, not mediocre, that can actually perform their jobs and let them do it.
Yeah.
And fire those, tell them, here's your severance pay, here's your early retirement, go brown nose 7-Eleven or, the Stripes down the street, don't come here anymore. And they have to take that for granted because the citizens in all the cities where the failure of this happened, they need to come up and say, you know what, it falls on us, so we have to oversee that. And unfortunately, guys, right now, extend the help to others because there's a lot of people out there in need. If you know of a neighbor, an aunt that does not have heat, bring them over. It's not going to hurt you for a day or two. And try to figure it out. Until next time. Peace.
Have a great one. Thank you.
Today, in America, more than 5.5 million men, women, and children train in a martial art regularly. Buitron Academy has been serving Laredo for over 30 years now. Our adult classes are geared for producing the best in you, teaching you street-ready techniques. With the arts of Savate and Kinpo, you'll learn the traditions of these sciences of combat, as passed down professor to student.
My name is Stephen Plank, and to whom this may concern. Professor Paul Buitrón is an outstanding human being and a close friend of mine, where his martial art prowess and skill is at equal to his humanity. His teaching capabilities are what one would expect of someone from his caliber. I've been in martial arts since I was 9. I'm 65 years old now. However, if I had a son or daughter who needed to learn self-defense, anti-bullying techniques, and/or gain a higher level of skill in fighting, and in which I could not instruct, then Professor Paul Buitrón would be my choice. His martial understanding of his savate is higher than anyone else I have met. His pedigree is impeccable. He comes highly recommended by myself. Guru Stephen Frank, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Richard Planis. I was the vice president of the IKKA for Ed Parker for many years, 10 years before he died. And I still travel the world teaching all over. And I met lots of people through the years. One of them I want to congratulate is Paul Buitrón down in Laredo, Texas. He's opening a new school, and that's always good to hear. I've known Paul since he was about 18 years old. I couldn't even tell you how old he is now. We've known each other for a long time, and he's like a lot of people should be, takes art seriously. He incorporated many arts, in his school. He does, capoeira, silat, jiu-jitsu, eskrima, kenpo, lots of different things. Any art like myself that you see a value in, you can bring it in and incorporate it if you want to. Anyway, so he's opening a new school, and I'd like to recommend it to anybody who wants to train down in the Laredo area. Meet him, go see him, you'll have fun. Thank you. Bye.
Come train at the best kept secret of Laredo. Give us a call for your free evaluation at 956-401-4868 or check out our website at savate.biz. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook.